After getting tons of comments about what base I've been using in my recent videos, I have finally decided to make a video on it. So, I present to you the Arsenal, which is a multi-TC wide gap base that has many raid defense capabilities, including external bedrooms, unlootable locker kits, and even turret pods with chain link fence peaks. Not to mention the endless amount of peaks in both the roof and the wide gaps. The point is, if you're a smaller team looking for a base that is both compact and defendable, this is the base for you. As for the cost, 110,000 stone, 44,000 wood, 48,000 frags, and 240 high qual. And with this cost, you can also get at least 1 day upkeep in your main TC, as it's only 6,000 frags, 16,000 stone, and 40 high qual. And after using this base design for several months now, on some of the hardest official vanilla servers, I can guarantee you it will do its job. Now, for the base tour. To start off, all 6 of the external TCs are disconnectable and are enclosed by 1 door and 2 windows, and they can very easily be disconnected by just placing a platform here and a roof on top of it. Moving on, we have 3 compound gates with drop boxes on the inside, and as we head into the spacious compound, you can see there is plenty of room for large furnaces, refineries, mixing tables, and boxes. Now, as I said earlier, there are 6 external TCs on this base, 3 are connected to the gates, and 3 are connected to the external bedrooms. And as you can see, for each external bedroom, there is plenty of room here for a locker, a box, a bed, or anything else you might need, as well as peaks looking both in and out of the compound. There is also a bed and a locker enclosed by 2 garage doors. As we head to the front door, you may notice that there is a refinery that I have for my jump up, but this can be replaced with absolutely anything, whether it's a ladder, a furnace, a ladder hatch, or anything else you could think of. This base was especially designed for mobility, so you'll notice how quickly you can go up and down the levels. But as for the core, we have a tier 3 with 3 bags, and a core that is crammed with boxes. As we make our way up to the second floor, there is plenty of room for extra bags, barbecues, workbenches, and whatever else you may need. The third floor is for the bedrooms, as well as the unlootable lockers, vending machines, and electric furnace stations. On the next jump up, there is room for the third bed, as well as 2 more unlootable lockers. Right above us here are 2 slots for batteries, as well as the jump up to the next floor, where we have 2 more unlootable lockers, as well as 2 extra doors for batteries. These are obviously interchangeable with whatever else you may need to fit in this space. Now there are 2 doors leading to the shooting floor, which you can see has a variety of peaks that you could use to defend your base. Now to get up to the roof, we have a jump up on all 3 sides of the base that gives you access to a roof peak, as well as these separate canopy parts, which all have their own unique peaks. Now as we go to the roof, you'll see there's plenty of room for a mini copter or a scrap heli, as well as these interesting looking ramp peaks, which are actually extremely useful. And as you may have noticed, I absolutely stocked this base with turret spots, so that nothing can stand in your way of securing your loot. Now, let's get into the tutorial. For the start of the base, all you really need to do is place down a 1x1. From here, you can expand with 1 triangle and a square coming off of either side. You can then enclose both of the squares. One of these squares will be your jump up, and the other will be used for furnaces and extra boxes. And for this tutorial, I'm going to have this square be used for my jump up. Now the important thing here is to make sure you do not add a roof on top of this, as this will be your jump up for the second floor as well. So all you have to do is place a half wall here, a triangle on top of it, and a square coming out. You can then break both of these builds. Obviously you still need a way up, so what I normally do here is just place a triangle and a half wall that you could use as a temporary jump up and break later on. Now if we make our way back inside of the base, I'll show you where all the deployables go for early game. I normally use a ton of furnaces for my early game, so I like to fill this entire square up with them. Of course, after expanding the base later on, this will be turned into a loot room. Moving on to the jump up next, I typically place 2 large boxes under here for depot, but if you have the extra resources available, you can also add a small box here and in front of each large box, as well as a campfire right here. Now on top of the actual jump up, what I like to do is put a tier 1 here, a barbecue in a small box here, and 3 bags lining the floor. Now for the TC room, we obviously have to add a triangle, so we can just go outside to do that real quick. Coming right off of the temporary jump up, you can add a triangle on top of it and place another triangle through the wall. You can then break the triangle that you just placed. Just to make this easier for myself, I'm going to take off the door to place down the boxes. With 4 boxes down, you obviously have plenty of more room on the floor for small boxes, so just add however many that you would need. And with that, your starter base is complete. Now for the honeycomb, all we have to do is add a triangle foundation to the outside of each of the base's parts. Now as for your temporary jump up, just place a wall here and wait until we're done with the rest of the honeycomb. At this stage, your base should look something like this. Now, as you might have seen in the base tour, the jump up is a little questionable for early game, so all we have to do is copy the same idea here onto one of these corners. And just for this example, I'm going to use this side as my TC is over here. So all you have to do is copy the same idea like this. At this point, you can soft side, Molotov, flamethrower, whatever you need to do to get rid of these 2 wood builds, and seal this up with honeycomb. Now we can start working on the second floor. You can start off by coming to your temporary jump up and placing 2 single doors to make an airlock, with a window on the right. And of course, seal it off with a roof. You could then enclose the rest of the base up with walls. Now, like I said earlier, this jump up will be used to get to your 3rd floor, so all you have to do now is seal off this roof. You could then pick up your door and expand as follows. Once again, adding another jump up. Just one quick after edit that I just noticed I forgot to tell you is that if you want to make sure there are unlootable locker rooms here and here, you need to make sure that these walls are made in wood. This way you can soft side them out later on. As for this door frame, the only thing that really works here is a garage door, so as soon as you get your tier 2, try to get one down. Now there are a ton of different options for how you lay out this floor, but I'm just going to show you what I normally do. For starters, I'm going to split this into 2 sections, so I'm going to put a wall like this, with an extra door frame here. Now for this triangle, you could do lockers, furnaces, or anything else that you have available to you at the time, but just because it's what I'm used to, I'm going to place a locker. To the right of it could be your depot room. Just make sure to upgrade these 4 triangles before adding your window. Now, as we make our way to this other section, I normally put another loot room here. Just remember to upgrade these triangles before adding your window. In most cases, I'll have my tier 2 by now, so we can actually move this tier 1 up to here. And replace it with a tier 2. This last triangle can be used for anything once again, but as per usual, I'm going to use a locker. You can also add another door frame here to section it off. I like to put my repair bench along the wall here, as well as my mixing table or research bench in this square. At this time, you should also upgrade these 3 roof pieces to sheet metal. That pretty much concludes the second floor, except there is one thing that you can't forget, which is the honeycomb on the backside jump up. Now for your third floor, you're basically copying the same idea for your second one, where all you have to do is close off everything except for this roof above this jump up. You can then remove this door and expand as follows. And for this jump up, you can seal off the roof. As for this floor, you can soft side both of these wood walls to make room for the unlootable lockers, which you can seal off with walls on either end. And of course, you can add another garage door here. Now all you have to do is place your lockers. Once that's done, you can place a half wall on either side and a low wall on top of them. And just like that, your third floor is complete. Obviously, you can upgrade any type of build that you want as you go, but the only thing that I would really recommend doing is upgrading the roofs of each floor. At this point, I like to start working on the wide gaps, just because there will be no more roof access if we keep going. One quick note is that in order to do the wide gaps properly, we will have to break our temporary jump up and replace it with something else. For this part, I am going to turn symmetry on. This way I don't have to build the same wide gap over and over again. But if you need to, just pause and replay the video as needed. Now, before we start, it is important to note that there are 6 different TCs that get built off of this base. So I'm going to start off with showing you the first method to wide gap this thing. And all you have to do is come to the sides of the base that have these 2 triangles touching each other. Just place the foundations the same way that I do. Now that you have this triangle here, you can base your wide gap, gate, and TC all from it. Now all we have to do is remove the excess pieces. From here, we can place our TCs down. Now do 2 half walls to the left of it, and walls as follows. On this last slot, you can place a single door frame. And of course, sealing off the roof and placing your 2 window frames. And that is your external TC done. Now all we have to do is to connect it to the rest of the wide gap so that the base doesn't decay. And we can do that by building up this gate. All we have to do is connect this gate to the wide gap and then we'll be good. Now it all depends on how you want your base to look. Some people like deleting these extra pieces for their wide gaps. Some people like placing a foundation here so that they don't have to jump up onto their wide gaps. But just for the sake of the example, I'll show you the way that I do it. And just to make it very clear, this will not change how you need to build a base whatsoever. It's all just visual. So even if you decide to leave something in here, you will absolutely be fine. But like I said, for this example, I'm going to show you how I would do it. Once you're done with one side, repeat the process on both of the other sides that have these 2 triangles. Once you're done with that, we can move on to the next 3 sections of the wide gaps, which once again will all follow the same rule as each other, but it will be different than the ones we just made. So all you have to do is find one of these triangles and build out the foundations as I do. Once again, we can delete the excess pieces. Now, as for the TC, it's going to be the same design as earlier, where we put 2 half walls here, walls around the edge, and a door frame here. Once again, all we have to do is connect these 3 pieces, and we could do that by building up this compound bedroom. Now what I like to do is place a vertical embrasure here and horizontal embrasures in these following windows. You can place a door frame here and here for your garage doors and a double door below. Now what we have to do next is place the framing for the wide gaps. Which we can connect back to here with either door frames, foundations, or floor frames. As for the external TC, we have to place a square frame here with a triangle frame, as well as a triangle frame off of this, and 2 to connect them. And just like that, all 6 of your external TCs are completed and connected to your wide gaps. The only thing left to do is to seal up the compound gates and add your barricades. Once you add this addition to all 3 sides, you can place depot boxes up here. For more storage, if you wanted to place boxes inside of your gatehouses, you could do that as well. Moving on to the barricades, you're going to need 3 for each external TC, which makes 18 total, and you can copy the same strategy for placing them on each one, as they do get a little bit tricky. So what I like to do is place triangles like this, which create a flat surface for you to place your barricades on. You can copy the same idea to all 6 sides. Once you're done with that, everything should look like this. Now all you have to do to finish the compound is to seal it up with compound walls. Once again, I do have symmetry on, so you guys can just copy that same strategy for the rest of the sides. And as you can see, the base is looking nice. Now, the first thing we have to do to contribute back to the base, now that the compound is complete, is level out this honeycomb in the back. From here, we can start building up the wide gaps. I will be building with symmetry, so just pay attention to what side I start off with. All you have to do is copy the same thing on the other 2 sides. Now for the other 3. Once again, just copy this to the other sides and your shooting floor should look something like this. Now that the wide gaps are built up, we can start working on our 4th floor. Now to start off this floor, we're going to add door frames here, as well as on these triangles. You can now place walls as follows. And of course, sealing it up with the roof. Now at this point, you can choose to make this floor however you'd like, but what I normally do is I soft side these two walls and leave them for batteries. Once again, I like to use these two triangles for batteries as well. On the triangles that I'm standing on can now become locker rooms. Once that's done, you can place 2 extra beds up here. Once that's done, you can fill in these 2 door frames with any door of your choice. Now heading out to the shooting floor, you can place 2 more doors on each side to create an airlock. As you can see, there is still 1 triangle that is empty back here, but what I like to do is copy the same idea and use this as an airlock. Now we can start to expand the jump ups. You can copy the same exact expansion to the other 2 jump ups. Now we can start placing embrasures and garage doors down. You might be asking why there's 2 garage doors here, but if you can get used to using this one to enter the jump up and this one to enter the roof, you'll always be able to utilize this peak. Now for the other 3 parts of the wide gaps, you can expand as I do. Going back to the roof, we can finish off these sections. And just like that, those 3 sections are complete. Now to finish the other 3 parts, all you have to do is add half walls up here, and enclose these with triangle roofs. Now if you want your base to be more open, you could just finish your roof off like this, or you could do what I like to do and turn these 3 things into canopies. The only thing left to do is to show you where to place your turrets and your turbines. Now for starters, I like to put my wind turbines coming off of these half walls. Once that's done, you can start placing your turrets down. The only ones that I would really recommend are the ones on the roof and in the compound, which I'll do first, and then anything that I feel is a little bit extra, I'll do after. Once that's done, we can make our way back into the compound. Find your compound gates and place turrets into each of these triangles. Just do that for all 3 sides and you'll be good to go. The only thing left to do is to add your turret pods in, which will go on all 3 of the wide gap sides that look like this. Once that's done, your base will be ready to defend. And if you want to add just a little bit more, you can head into the shooting floor. Just adding these 3 turrets will make your base so much more secure for online raids. And if you still aren't satisfied with your protection, you can place more inside. Once that's done, you can upgrade the rest of the base as you go along with your wipe. I would just highly recommend upgrading the outer layer for your foundations and first 2 floors as soon as you possibly can. And of course, upgrading the roof to sheet metal or high qual will help you defend from MLRS attacks. As for the compound, we can finish it off by placing down large furnaces and our refinery jump up. And just like that, your entire base is complete. Now, if you did make it to the end, this is my first attempt at making a decent base build video, and I'm sure there are plenty of things I can improve on if I decide to do so again. So I will take absolutely any suggestions and criticism down below, but make sure to subscribe and like while you're there. Anyways, that's it for me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.